Yo, so funny story. I started this stream already once. I ended it and got rid of it because my buddy let me know my mic had been muted for the first 20 minutes of it, which sucks. So what I'm gonna do, if you're following this from past videos that you watched the first two maybe, I'm essentially just gonna kind of walk you through the changes I did in those 20 minutes just so you can kind of catch up and see what we've changed and what we've done. So the first thing we did was we actually created an open source repo for this. It's Corey Gorski/resume on GitHub. So you can actually go check out this code here. That will be much better. So people can check it out, fork it, do whatever. We're gonna update the README at some point to be, saying proper things. So that's what we did. A couple other things we did was we came into our data object here and we added an education data type. So we had the side project one, we added the education one for your resume. And for those who maybe aren't familiar or you're just joining live now, we were building this resume, this open source tool that you can basically go and edit, fork this repo, edit this data object and create a resume for yourself that you can then either send to people with a link or you can essentially, Wikido. I can hear. Yes, my audio is working. Yeah, and you can kind of use this, or maybe you want to print it as a PDF or whatever, so that you can send it to an employer. So, yeah. So what we did in that kind of 20 minutes where my audio wasn't working was we added the education data type and then added this optional education array to our main kind of data object here, which is awesome. Cool. So you can have side projects and you can have data, you can have your education here. The other thing we did was in the details panel, which is this whole right side here, we essentially wrapped them in this check to basically say, hey, if there's no side projects or if there's no education, don't show those sections. We're only going to show the sections that actually have content, which makes sense. And so I believe that's kind of all we did. We also threw it up on Vercel, which it's not going to be much there until I actually push a lot of this code that we've been doing. We have a lot of changes and I haven't been diligently pushing to GitHub. Okay, so that's where we were. That's the catch up. That's my first streaming flub where obviously we had some audio visual issues and mostly just an only audio. Cool. So jumping back into the problem that we were solving is, so I've got this breakpoint for web. And essentially, because people may view this on, yeah, I also just realized that I'm talking and not showing you what we're doing. So I'm just gonna jump into the code here. And this is essentially what we were doing. So I was saying there's a repo out from GitHub now. We're gonna launch this on Vercel just so people can see it. And we are, so we're trying to solve this problem. So right now we have a breakpoint. So on web, when you kind of make this smaller, we're gonna tweak this and do some things to this, but like this is essentially what people see. So that you can send this link out to people and actually have them look at your resume online. But what I want is when you print this, and so I'm gonna print this and save it as a PDF, and then I'll refresh it and show you guys what it looks like here. So I'm just saving it as a PDF in the background here. And this is what it looks like. It's not super great. Obviously this takes up way too much on the side. It's way too big on this. It's almost like even columns here. And all your work history and everything is really kind of just like crammed in over here. Plus you've got this kind of baked in stuff, which we could take off using print settings, but just kind of annoying extras. So there's a couple options we have here. We can go, I just realized I didn't start my timer. We can go two routes. We can keep going down this print route, try to see if we can tell the browser not to show those things, resize some elements in order to make them look a little better. Or we can go the route of trying to get the HTML to output a PDF. there's a couple, there's pros and cons to both situations. There's a part of me that really wants to see if we can do the printing option, because if we print and save as a PDF, it means that people will be able to actually, you know, if you're sending it to an employer, and if they are old school or whatever, and they do print it off, it will fit nicely on a page and all that kind of stuff. So let's just follow this road down a little bit. So there's a couple things we have to do. One, let's have a real quick look to see if we can get rid of those header items. And two, let's see if we can then resize things a bit so that it looks nice in a PDF. I am super interested in kind of where the sizing is for this. So, or how much, what size screen, sorry, if we were resize is what I'm trying to say, our actual screen, when would we be at the size of print? And so I'm seeing like the easiest way to do that is like just to look at these sentences and see where they break and see if we can match that breaking. So with a passion for building, so for and building is where it breaks. So if we were to take this window and kind of do this and would say for, okay, so this is our first problem. One of the things that I forgot that we had done was we had actually changed this to have breakpoints for the large size screen. So these are using Tailwind. These are our media breakpoints. And so we're saying, hey, you know what? When you are at a large screen size, which in this case is right about here, I want you to make them columns. But as soon as you go below that, I want them to be stacked on top of each other. What we did is we said, hey, for print, I don't want this to ever stack. I want it to always stay that way. And so that's how we forced that. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just change these. I'm going to get rid of those print things, and I'm going to make the breakpoints a lot smaller, so that we can see what this thing looks like. So if I was to go in here, even that is the small break. Oh, that's why. So there, we're about on the printing. We're like here. This is the size, which is small. So just take a quick look and see if that matches up. How do I close this? There we go. So this is what the PDF looks like. This is what our browser looks like. Yeah, they're basically kind of showing the same kind of deal. So how do we make this size work well? The options are to do a few different things. We can shrink everything down, use smaller font sizes, use a smaller picture. We can do all that. Maybe we can use a scale when it prints. Ooh, that could be interesting. That could be really interesting. And so like the idea here is, okay, so I can say scale, and let's just say 50%. So this whole thing shrinks, right? But what if we were to just say that only applies when you're printing? Let's just see what that looks like. So I know you guys can't see the printing dialog that pops up here. I don't think it's gonna work very well from the preview I'm seeing. Let's go check out the app. Okay, no, let's go check out the document. Let's do it in here. We'll change the scale. I'm gonna change it to 75, and then in here, we will undo this. Okay, and let's just see what that prints like. Yeah, I know you're not seeing the preview, but it's definitely not what we're looking for. Okay, so using scale is not going to work. So let's get rid of that. Cool. So I guess really our only, I don't want to say our only option, but our only option may be to have to resize a lot of this. Okay, so we're talking about a few things. We're talking about, let's bring back in those print, not these ones, but the other print classes, where we basically say this should always stay as left and right columns for printing. But temporarily, we're going to make sure that we can see kind of where that breakpoint is. We'll change that back later. Cool. So I'm going to jump into this sidebar panel, and we're going to do a few things. First of all, this picture is going to have to change sizes. I hope it doesn't have to change to that size. Let's go there. And then we're going to have to change this. So we're going to have to say text. I think it's base right now. We're going to have to say small. Cool. And then we're going to have to jump back up into this index page. And what we're going to do is we're going to change how wide this column is allowed to be. So we're going to say small width is no longer 72. We're going to see how she handles 48. Okay. Already, I think that is better proportionally. Okay. And we're just going to change this because that's going to affect the printing. Okay. I'm already feeling like I want to have different styles for printing and for when you're reviewing on the web, because I don't want things to be this small when you're in the web version, but let's just keep moving. So if we jump into the details panel, we're going to have to change these guys. They're way too big. What do we have here? 4 and then 3. So we're going to say 2 and then XL. And then the height of this is going to change to be like 24. Maybe it's going to be more. Is 24 even a size? One thing about the Tailwind CSS kind of like IntelliSense tool is I wish, so if I would say like H, and I get this, preview of what I can use, if I would say like H24, but then I was like, I want to change the size. If I just delete those, I'm not getting IntelliSense popping back up, which would be super amazing. 24 I think is where I was at actually. So let's try 30, and that's not a thing. 32? Cool. Great. So then jumping into the bio section, we're going to change the size of this. Section container is now, so this is the section container actually wraps all of these sections. I'm going to say text small. So all of that should get much smaller. And then we're going to jump into the section heading, and this is going to become XL instead. So this works. The only thing I'm going to change now is these work history dates. We have text excess on them. I don't think there's a smaller size. There isn't. But I don't want them to be that size. So like, this is fine. I don't love the look of this, to be honest. It's going to look better in our PDF file. If I was to just save this again. And refresh this. So like, this is looking better for sure. But there's a couple things I still want to do. I still want to control kind of like how these margins work, because there's way too much padding and stuff like that. And can I get rid of these? So like Chrome, print, JavaScript, remove, header, footer. Can I even do this? Or maybe it's a CSS thing. So maybe we can throw in something like this to make those margins better. It's still not getting rid of the headers and footers, but let's throw that in our global CSS and just see what that does in terms of making our print margins better. So I'll print this again. super interesting. So that actually took away all that header and footer information, but it left us with still these huge margins. It's massive. Interesting. This is like my least favorite thing to do, is to have to work with stuff kind of outside of what's definitely, spec'd out in like the HTML specification or the JavaScript specification, because now we're just like hoping browsers are going to actually work with us well. So I'm gonna throw this at 0 just to see what that does for us. So if I was to print this, we'll try this again and save it there. And if we were to just give me 1 sec, be right back. Yo, so if I was to, so I printed that off with no margin on the body either. And that ends up looking kind of nice like that. I feel like maybe what I'm doing is I'm introducing some margins later on that make more sense. So let's keep it like this. I feel like now maybe we could actually increase some of the size of these things. Let's see, the breakpoint here is at beautiful, responsive, and intuitive. So let's just go check this out. If I was to jump back in here, oh, that's exactly where it is. So it's good. So this is the size, and it's looking okay. Okay. Which one did I say? And it was included there. So let's just keep that there. So this is the print size. It's okay. It's okay. Let's I think I'm going to, what am I going to do? I want to create a gap, I think, between these. So what's happening right now is there is an equal amount of margin here and here, and then there's also the page margin here. Partly I kind of want to reduce this margin, but I don't want to reduce the spacing in between here. So really, that's super simple. But what I want to do then is I want to have a gap. And so on this flex row, I'm just going to say gap 4. We'll see what that does. I don't think that did much. Let's make a gap 12. Okay. So that's fine. We're just going to jump into the sidebar, and what we're going to do is we're going to, yeah. Okay, so there is no margin on the sidebar. What's happening is the width of this is bigger than it needs to be. So we're going to take that 48 and I'm going to make it 36. I think that's good. And then we can change this gap to like 8. I believe that that's way better proportions. It doesn't feel as like padded on the left here. I think that's nice. Cool. Got about 15 minutes left. Just going back to what I was talking about, like, I don't know that I like this look now, the web look. Kind of hate it. So the other thing I don't want to do though is I don't want to have to kind of go back and forth with doing print styles and web styles, but that may be what we end up having to do. Just makes the whole process of editing this kind of suck. So let's leave it the way it is for right now. One thing I am going to do with Tailwind, because we're working in this smaller size now, is I want to extend the sizes. So if I was to go to Tailwind font size, I can take a look at their documentation around font size. And then similar to what we've done in a past video where we actually overrode or extended the Tailwind theme, we're gonna do that with this one. And so they give us the small sizes extra small. And so if I was to jump into my Tailwind config, we can extend this. So I actually wanna say, oh, let's extend it and let's add a font size of extra small. And because the smallest one is 0.75 and this is 0.875, we're reducing by like oh my gosh, is my math gonna work here? 0.125, I think that's how it's going. So we're just gonna say this is gonna be 0.625 rem. Cool. And so now with our Tailwind helpers and stuff like that, we should be able to use XSS as a size. So I'm gonna jump back in here. Let's go back to here. And the main reason I wanted to incorporate that is that this, when we had to switch the sizes of this kind of ended up being still, I think, too big. So what we're gonna do is we are going to jump in and we are going to go to the work history tab. And instead of using extra small, we're gonna say extra small. And I think that looks better. That is on this wrapper, so we can actually take the sizing off of this one. Boom. Cool. Awesome. All right, I think now we've gotten the print thing worked out. So let's keep going here. Okay, I'm gonna close everything that I've got open here. And we're gonna just check this one off. We fixed the breakpoint issue for printing, so that works nicely. Cool. The next thing I'm gonna do, just real quick so it's even up, is I'm gonna commit all this stuff. So we've made a ton of changes, and usually I'd commit as we do certain features, but I'm just gonna say, git add all and git commit. We did a lot here. And I'm just gonna push that up to the repo. And so over here on Corey Gorski /resume on GitHub, all the changes are now up here. Sweet. And then our Vercel project should actually be deploying as well, since we just pushed to GitHub. Yeah, so it's building it out here. We did a lot here. And then we can go check that out and see if it works on the domain there. So once that finishes building, let's actually just click into this. Yeah, it's still building. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee. And it should be done soon. Assigning the domains. Cool. So let's go check it out. Not found. That's super neat. Super duper neat. And by super duper neat, what I mean is, what the hell? Click here to learn about this error. I'd love to. Thank you. I've literally never run into this problem with Vercel. So I'm gonna leave this alone because this isn't the purpose of what we're doing. It was just supposed to be a nice little bonus. So I'm going to close this. And then I'll try to look into that later and kind of see what's going on. Let's close some of these windows we had open. Awesome. Here we are. I'm also going to change just the height of this. I'm not sure why that's acting that way. So if we go back into work history, yeah, I'm not sure why we've got such, oh, No. Left. Yeah, there's some kind of, maybe it's even line height that's doing that. Probably just even line height, yeah. So let's say, is it leading? Yeah, let's say leading tight. I think we can put that on the parent container. Yeah, and that gets a lot tighter. Nice. Okay. Cool. All right, so we're gonna take this work history section, and I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually, I think we're just gonna duplicate it for right now. So if we go over to our files and we duplicate this, duplicate. Where are we? It's in about 10 minutes left. Let's see if we can get the side project section in place. That didn't work. Duplicate. There we go. So side project section. We already have a side project section. Okay, so let's take some of this, and we're just gonna paste this in here. And I shouldn't say obviously, but we are going to have to make some changes to this. So first of all, I've copied and pasted the work history for the side projects. I'm gonna say, like, I don't care about this work period thing, how long it lasted. Maybe we'll do just like a single start date. Let's leave it as is. Okay, so because we're gonna use work period in here, we're actually gonna have to bring work period out into its own component so we can use it in multiple places and not just be in there. So we're gonna have work period JSX, and let's just grab this whole component we've built and we'll throw it into here. And we'll just export that as the default export and save it. Cool. We'll close that out, and then in work history, we'll just have to import it to make this work. Period, is that what I called it? Yeah. Cool, everything should now work all nice. We'll just bring this into here. Cool. Now this is theoretically, I think, going to work, but it's gonna show work history instead of what it needs to be showing, which is side project history. It's not working, so it's not working because in our data object, we still don't have, we had that check in place, we still don't have any side project work. So, yeah, so like we said, this is the shape of that data. So if we were just to kind of bring that in here, I'm gonna skip on the logos for a second, and I'm gonna say, I don't know, what did this person's side project look like? This guy looks like he would have built a laser skateboard. I don't know. And his role was the chief architect. And he did this back in 2019, sure. 2019, 03, 01. Maybe he's still working on it, so we're not going to take that out. We are going to take out end date. And then there's a description. We built an awesome skateboard that shoots lasers. What was GitHub Copilot going to give you there? It shoots lasers at your enemies, of course. What else would it do? And then there's a link to it. I'm not even going to look this up, but laserskateboard.com. Sweet. Are there any logos is not defined, which is fair. We copied this over from a different place and did not have that. So pull that in, paste it in here. Failed to construct image, and that's because we have to import image from next/. image. Cool. So our side projects are now listed. Obviously it's using work history, so we have to make some adjustments. Cool. 4 minutes left. Let's see how much we can do. So are there any logos? First of all, we're not looking at work history. We're looking at side projects. So let's throw that in there and we'll just change that out to be project. Cool. So in this case, there aren't any, so it's not going to show any. We're going to have to now loop over side projects and we're going to call this project. Now we're going to break everything by doing this. So we'll have to go through. So we're going to call this just initials. And we're going to change that to project. So that should work. We're now going to say project.start date. Are there any logos? We're going to throw the logo in if it's there. Project.logo. If there isn't one, show the initials. All right. Project.name, I think is what it's called. Hit up that data. Yeah. And change this to role. Change this. I'm going to take all the work dots and do them all at once. Project dot and save that. So where are we? Project.company. Yeah, it's not called company, is it? It's called name. Cool. Side projects, laser skateboard. The chief architect. I think I spelled chief wrong. Chief. IE? Oh, that didn't work. Chief. Yeah, IE. Cool. Let's just jump in back into the data and we'll just change that IE. And laser is apparently spelled with an S. Those are good things to know. Laser skateboard. I'm kind of interested to see where this goes. There is no laser skateboard. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is my side project. I've been working on it for 39 months. I'm the chief architect of laser skateboards. Super awesome. I'm going to throw in another side project that I worked on that was called Mom's Pajamas. And this guy was the web master for it. And this was back in 2001. Really proud of this one. That's why he wants to list it here. And the end date on this one, it ended in 2003. They had a good run. Oops. And I should probably actually spell this correctly. Date. Pajamas are a collection of fun and practical items that are perfect for the little ones. Sweet. Moms, I should probably be careful with this one. I'm just gonna say amazon.com/pajamas. Cool. Looking good. Okay. I do kind of wonder if we are going to be able to just really quickly in the last minute here, go over a little bit of time here, but maybe copy out what we just did again for education and just get it done because that'd be sweet. So I'm just gonna copy this out and say education section. Let's jump into that. And it already existed, of course, I made it. So let's jump into what we just did. And there's a lot of duplication in this code. And so there's the timer. So I'm just gonna hit, okay, thanks for letting me know. We're out of time, but I am gonna just finish this up real quick. So let's just grab all this from in here. We're gonna throw it in the education section. Apparently I overwrote it. Did I overwrite it? Oh, weird, I did. Education section. And I do not want to overwrite that because it's got the old, let's just grab the old section header from here and this. Cool. Open book and paste in our section header. Save that. And now we need some education. So let's go back into here. And basically it looks like side projects, except it doesn't have a link, I believe. There's a couple different changes. Education, institution instead of name, and program instead of role. Okay, so let's just call this education, and we'll call this institution, and we'll call this program. And like I said, there is no link, so we'll take those ones off. And then we've got some education. Cool. Maybe the last thing before I do actually for realsies jump off is just to make sure this data actually has something in it. So we'll say Waterloo University, and the program was information technology. And this person went there from, where did they go? They went from 2016 in September until 2020, then 2020 in April. Learned lots about technology and how to use it to solve problems. Sweet. And then also went to Marianne's School of Cooking. And the program he took was Culinary Arts. And this was a long time ago. Until April of 2006. Let's see. Learned how to cook and how to make friends. What else did you do? I learned how to be a good cook. What else did you do? Learned how to... it's the same over and over again. Cool. Saving that. And this should update. Did I save it? Oh, it is still using the side project data, which is what we have to update here. Okay. So anywhere we receive side projects, which is just those two spots, we're going to do that. Education. We're then going to change this out to be school, and this to be school. And so now we're going to look for everything where it says project dot and replace that with school dot. And then we have a few things to change out, which are the institution and the program. I think that's it. Oh, no, school.institution. Awesome. All right, cool. That's it for today. We're going to hopefully maybe get this wrapped up, maybe one or two more streams, we'll see. But yeah, liking how it's looking, liking kind of the format it's taking, the ability to override it. A couple things I might want to do in the next stream involve like even just little tweaks, like if we show the logo at all on any of the sections, maybe it all should show the initials just so that it's got the same, they all line up the same. But we're gonna jump into just adding some links. So like maybe they have their LinkedIn or GitHub links they want to add on here. And then maybe jumping into the cover letter stuff next time, which would be awesome. Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you soon.